how's everyone doing today? So I started in the government contracting game about 30 years ago. I was working for a company called Seaman as a project manager with them, running their conferences and events. We were doing about, literally, the company did about 500 events a year. I was responsible for maybe, I would say probably 20 of those. I was there as a consultant, and then a friend of mine who was working on a contract for a prime contractor for the NIH, NIDDK, and they needed someone to do outreach and to do marketing for people of color. So one of the things that was really passionate for me, and still is ensuring that health equity messages are properly representative of people of color. And so for me, I was all in. She's like, hey, I think you have experience working for BET. You would be a great fit for this opportunity. You should really, I'm going to put your name in. I never worked on a government contract before, but I knew marketing, and I never led, let me say, my own experience, like running my own company, because I was consultant at the other company that I was working for. And when she called me and told me about this opportunity, the money was excellent. And I was like, hey. So I was wrapping up the engagement with the other contract that I had with Seaman, and then it was just really time for me to look for something else. She called me and told me about this opportunity, and it was great. I was doing messaging, marketing, event planning. I was working with the graphics team to ensure that all the creative, all the messaging, the outreach, working with the community to ensure that it really resonated with people of color. The messaging was not only being said in the right way, but the tone was right. The level of education was correct, making sure that we had the primary audiences and the secondary segmented audiences set up correctly. And so it was just a passion of mine. It's always been a passion of mine to ensure there's representation in messaging. So I basically submitted a proposal, submitted my resume, submitted a budget, and they hired me to do the project. I worked on that project for about a year, and then someone said, hey, have you thought about being an 8A? You're really good. We love the work that you did with NIH. You could do subcontracting for other large agencies as well throughout the area. So that's essentially how I started. And so I pursued my 8A. Never do that again. Never ever pursue your 8A unless you already have had some kind of consistent business, because you have a short amount of time on the within the 8A program. So you want to make sure you have strong past performance before you go into the 8A program. And that's something that I get into later on with if you sign up for some of my government contracting courses about what past performance is, the 8A program, how those set aside programs really work, what you should already be doing before you enter the program. Because some people will say, oh, you need to get an 8A, and then all of a sudden it's going to be making it rain because you got the 8A. That's not the case. So I talk a little bit about that in my government contracting course. But for this conversation, essentially they say you should get into the 8A program. I pursued the 8A program, was able to get my certification, but I was still doing consulting. I was really making a lot of money consulting, and I didn't have a need to really start going after federal work until I got that call from the DHS FEMA contract officer to say, hey, we have a project and this is what the work is. We need someone to do it. We saw that you were in the 8A, because I was listed in the 8A program, but I had not bid on 8A work, right? So that's when I went through the whole process of finally doing this proposal. Had no idea what a performance work statement was. Can you imagine? Wrote the proposal for the performance work statement, did the budget based on the work in the performance work statement, and won the daggone proposal. In like 2 weeks, I was up and running. Had a friend that I said, hey, you do research. We need research for this program. I'll fly you up from Florida to help me on this project. Well, she worked on the project and is still working with me 20-something years later. So that was my story. That's how I started. And yeah, it's pretty awesome.